Today, I'm going to provide you with a quick Florida Keys fish report, and I'm going to talk to you about wire leaders in regards to using them or not, and what I've been doing so far this year. It's been interesting, let's just say. Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Okay, what's going on down here in the Florida Keys? We've had the cold fronts are moving through, and we're beginning to see a little shift in the temperatures, meaning that we are shifting into I think a La Nina pattern. So we're starting to see it a little bit. The windy days are getting a little further apart, and you're seeing some days with some stabilized weather, which means some really good wahoo fishing, which is what we're seeing right now. So it's been very good. The bites have been, tight windows, tight window bites, and so if you guys are crushing them, we've had some very good days with the wahoo fishing over the past few weeks. I in my last report I stated that we're finding them in the dirty powder blue water, which everybody's like, oh, you're never going to catch them in there. We do consistently. So what we've done in the past is I've done a lot of studies on how far that slime layer goes down, and this year we've actually captured some really good video of like how far that blue water or that powder blue water changes into blue, and we've also visibility as well. Those are the things that we're covering in the new Wahoo Strategies course. So I'm weaving that in with those guys to share what I've been seeing. So also too, we've along the reef line, the yellowtail have been biting like really big flags, like nice ones. So just the reports I'm seeing are fantastic, really good stuff. So Patry fishing. I've seen a awesome bite of big Cero mackerels. The best thing to do for those guys is to get some cigar minnows or some live pilchers and free line them out and watch them explode on the top. We're just using like basic circle hooks. I don't like to use wire with Ceros. I've seen them like they tend to shy off a little bit on it, honestly. But anyhow, we're just catching them on like small circle hooks, and we're just free lining out live baits, and it's fun to watch them sky. Uh, Amazing mangrove snapper fishing again this winter. Very good, very good. So our sailfish, the best bite I think has been mostly south from Alligator down to Tennessee Light. Been really good. So yeah, conch reef is fishing a little strange this season. I don't know. The What's happened is the underwater the sub is gone, so that piece of structure is no longer there. So I don't know. We'll see. It's been still been very good. It just hasn't, in my opinion, it hasn't been the greatest. So I don't know. Take it for what it's worth. Anyhow, best wahoo fishing, Eagle Wreck and the petting zoo, Dwayne and the bib. Run figure eights around the bib and the Dwayne, and try not to and stay out of the way of all the spear divers. So again, and also too, if things are really busy down there, then move down to the Eagle, and then there's some other places where you can catch them too along the way. So yeah, that's really all I got. Bridges are very good. Tons of yellow jacks as usual. Those fish are not picky. So like I said, I've caught them on bear hooks. So, but I would go with some bait, shrimp, and the usual stuff for those. They're not picky. Um, but and For myself, we've been catching plenty of mutton snappers as usual. Yeah, just the usual stuff for me. We had a really awesome bite of really nice blackfin tunas a couple days ago. Really good stuff. I was like shocked on how many that we've seen actually. So, but again, it was a full moon, super moon, and they were everywhere. It was cool to see. So, yeah, so something to think about. Pass the time in between wahoo bites and bag yourself a couple nice blackfins for some tuna poke. Let's move into wire leaders. Okay, so in the past, I've always been like, okay, let's just put it like this. I'm going to kind of back up a little bit. I get a lot of questions about should I use wire or should I not use wire? And this is specifically for slow trolling, not for high speed trolling. I am not an expert by any means at high speed trolling, nor do I wish to be. It's just not my style of fishing. I prefer to slow speed troll, and that's what I do. So I troll anywhere between 5 and up to 12 miles an hour max. Okay. And if I don't get them after that, I don't get them. It is what it is. And just, I'm okay with that. I'm like, and the people that fish with me, I just tell them, hey, I do not high speed fish. That's it. If you wish to go book with somebody else that high speed fishes, go ahead. I do not do that. I fish for a variety of different species, and that's what I do when I go troll at slower speeds. And I also love to live bait fish. So it's just I'm very much looking forward to doing that this winter. Okay. So I want to talk to you guys about wire leaders. Okay. This season, I have been bit off more without using wire. And and then I started putting wire on again, and it didn't seem to matter at all. So, and what I found was the fish this season for myself are bigger. So they're bigger. I think I've only caught one small wahoo this season, like one small 20 pounder. So that's been it. The rest of the fish have been 30 pluses and one up into the 70s this year. So, and that one was caught in dirty water. So, um, so they, like I said, I get so it's so funny is that there's a lot of people that a lot of experts out there saying you can't catch these fish when the water's yeah, well, we've been catching them. So anyhow, let's get into the wire stuff. So the great debate over the course of the years has been, well, are you using 12 inches of wire or are you using 8 foot of wire? A lot of guys like to use like really long stretches of wire. I have always used really short pieces of titanium, like up to 6 inches, 12 inches. And I don't like, honestly, over the course of the how many years, I think I've only been like had one that slid up on the wire and been cut off. So I'm very confident using short pieces of wire. Okay. And I'm only allowed, I mean, I'm fishing by myself or I've got my clients and I take up to a max of 3 people. So I'm only allowed so many wahoo. Okay. So I am not looking to like catch the farm here. So I'm looking for a couple fish and then we're going to go move on. If we get lucky, we'll catch two, three, four, sometimes six. So and after all these years, I've had very few cutoffs at the swivel. Okay. But what I have found I've been putting down cameras this season and I'm gathering data for the courses and showing people what things look like and so they can make their own decisions as well. And along the way, I found a couple different things. So this season, I was always curious about bright wire versus dark wire. Honestly, I've in the past years ago, like I was using a lot of bright wire and I was catching a lot of fish. And then I was like, well, I need to go to dark wire. So I did that. And, I didn't catch as many. So this year I had slid back into using 100% bright wire, silver. And I have to tell you that it's made for myself. I'm happy that I went back and I had like, I went back in my books, I looked and I was like, yeah, let's just do this. And everybody, like a lot of guys have their theories on bright wire, but really it's after putting cameras down and looking at the wire, I'm like, you can't really see it very much. And in fact, when you compare titanium wire to bright wire under the water, you don't really, it doesn't, you can actually, the bright wire actually doesn't show up as much as a titanium, and the titanium's black. So, and also too, when you use short pieces of wire, there's a break um, between the wire. Say, for example, if you got a 6 inch to 12 inch piece of wire versus an 8 foot piece of wire. Okay. So you have a break right there, and it does not look, and you can really see that swivel or that knot. So whether that doesn't really matter when you're trolling fast, to be honest with you, I don't really think it does. But when you're trolling at slower speeds, I do think that really matters. So I really do feel that a longer piece of wire is good now versus what I have in the past because it like it's what happens is that there's a balance there, okay? And what it does, it offers you it's like what's the word for it? Trying to think of the best way to explain this is if you have a longer piece of wire, it blends more into the water, I guess you could say. And when you have a short piece of wire, it there's a cutoff there. And it doesn't look very natural. So the longer piece of wire, in fact, I do believe that my troll that I'm getting the most out of my plugs and the most out of my ballyhoo rigs versus a short piece of wire. I don't really like, I'm still looking at it and I'm still making my decisions based on what I do. I don't really care what anybody else does. So, in fact, I'm using underwater cameras now to make the best decision I can based on light angles and stuff. And that's what I do. It's a science of fishing and really it never ends. And like in the decisions that you make, I want to be able to say, okay, I need to do this when the water looks like this with this sun angle. And I've have found that to be very true. So fishing pressure does it really does affect how how fish act out there. It really does. I hear a lot about how a lot of guys used to do very well on wire up by Fort Lauderdale area, north of Miami, but now they don't do very well on wire. But for myself, I've found that yeah, have the heavier wire. You can really see it. But when I drop down to number five, which I use, number five bright wire AFW, very good. And I use longer pieces now. I use 5 to 10 inches. Actually, I'm sorry, 2 foot to 5 foot pieces of wire. And then the reason why I do that, I just want more like continuity. Okay, I want it to be, and plus I want the lure to do a little bit more. And that wire does amazing. It's just like you cannot, honestly, you can't really see it very much and it depends on the sun angles and stuff though. And I don't see a lot of shine coming off of it. And I've got several videos actually slowed a lot of them down and looked at them. So, and I have had zero issues with like like getting the bites that I want. Okay, getting the bites that I want. And they've been big fish bites. And I've been very fortunate enough that this season is that we have a lot of big fish down here, more so than I've seen ever like I've seen in the past. And typically there's a lot of smaller 15 to 20 foot, 20-pound flippers, I call them. Those are the ones that you just flip in the boat. So, and some higher 20s. But this season they've been some big mongos, big, some really nice ones. So, and what I found, and a lot of guys, when you get cut off, which I was finding that the fish were just swallowing the hook and swallowing the bait. So now, if you're like, yeah, I don't want to really I want to get the bites, and you can like do one side with wire, do one side without, see which ones get bit. Okay. So really the choice comes down to yourself and what you do as a captain of your own vessel. You're going to hear it from the peanut gallery on what to do, but really you should honestly, the best advice you can do is look at like you're just have confidence what you're doing. If something isn't working, then change it out. Okay. So like I typically use titanium. Titanium gets a little bit more wiggle, has a little bit more stretch, but honestly, I was getting more bites on the bright wire than I was with the titanium this season. So yeah, that's why I switched. I'm like I haven't fully committed yet to switching all the way out, and I like to change things up because I like to make things interesting for myself, and change is good. But it's something to think about. Really what it does, it just allows for a longer leader allows for more flexibility, I do believe, as far as wire goes. And if you're having a longer leader, it blends in a little bit more in the water. It looks a little bit more natural. And honestly, that thin number five AFW bright wire is really good. I That's really all you need for the keys. A 30 to 40 pound Wahoo, no problem with no problem at all actually with it. If you're doing the haywire twist correctly, um, number five is the way to go. So, and even guys will drop down a little bit less and they'll do that. But I'm very comfortable with number five. That's what I use when I live bait fish. Um, as well. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Also, too, I feel that it provides less resistance in the water. And after watching a lot of videos, I do believe that shine does scare away a lot of fish. You'll see a lot of videos where fish will come up and turn away on it. And it's so fun. I got the cameras going now, more so I've ever had. And I'm doing a lot more underwater videos to where I can study the line and see which line performs the best with which lures. Um, and honestly, sometimes they don't give a shit. Okay, they don't care. So if you're on like a full moon and it's prefrontal and you're in the right area, you hit a pack of hungry fish, there you go. I don't think they're going to care. So, and especially if you're high speed trolling, that's, I mean, they I don't think they really care there either. So, it's really about having the right lure out, the right silhouette, getting bit, and that's really what that's all about. So, pack hungry fish. So, again, for myself, I'm using a 2 to 5 foot leader when it comes to slow trolling. I don't want to hand line anything. It's not, yeah, I can hand line wire, but I honestly, um, for myself, I don't need to do that. A 2 to 5 foot, I just reel it right up, and then we gap them, and put them in the boat. So yeah, so I hope that like kind of makes clear some things up. Really, um, you want to have balance. Okay, you want to have balance in that leader. Sometimes, like you said, that swivel kind of stands out a little bit. Sometimes you'll watch them, they'll come up, and then you watch them come up on the videos, and they'll turn off of it. Something's not right when they do that. I don't know why they do that. The fish are fish, so and it's fun. So, um, yeah, I think that's all I got. If you guys, we've got the new Wahoo course going right now, live bait strategies. We're digging just into live bait strategies, and we just finished lesson one and the Q&A. What's so unique about this course is that you can ask questions, okay? And I go through the scenarios. I show you this isn't just this is what you need to do. And I'm not going to give, like I told the guys in the last meeting, is that I'm not going to tell you what like leaders to use, or like I give the basics out in a PDF form in between lessons because I'd rather just focus on the technical data. So on you have to find fish to catch fish, and that's it. And you can zigzag and do all this other shit out there, but really you're just wasting your time. Um, Fish hold up in certain areas, they do their thing. They're going to eat either high speed, slow speed, or live bait. And I'm just helping the guys make the most out of their time. So, and not to mention, fishing is for myself is like the the absolute best like stress relief as far as anything. It's always been like that, and it's just fun to talk fishing with guys sometimes, and it's just yeah. So it's kind of like wrestling fans. I meet a wrestling fan. We like to talk about wrestling. Anyways, that's all I got, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll we'll get back on a regular podcast schedule here. We've had a busy holiday season. I want to thank all those that fish with me, and looking forward to seeing my clients here this February. If you'd like to book a trip, you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. And follow me on Instagram, Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL_keys. That's all I got. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.